Hello everyone and welcome back. So for today's video, I'm actually kind of excited to do because it is a first impression of the new Morphe Fluidity foundation and concealer. So I'm pretty excited about this, and I just want everyone to know that I have not watched any reviews, so I have no idea what people think of this at all. I was trying my best to like look away from everything until it actually came in. So that is what today's video is going to be about, and I'm going to be trying a couple of more, just a couple other things by Morphe. So if you want to see how I like this foundation and concealer, and if it's potentially worth your money, just keep watching. So this stuff just came in today while I was at work. I got like the email saying, you know, like a parcel has been delivered by Morphe, and I got so excited. I just wanted to kind of like rush home and film this ASAP. So here we are. Basically, I don't know much about this foundation. All I knew is that when they were coming out with some new foundation and concealers, I signed up for the Morphe email list just to kind of tell me, you know, like, hey, we're launching blah blah blah, or we're already launched, do you want to put an order in now? So that's basically what I did. I have no idea what kind of shade I was. Like, I know they have such a big shade range. I had no clue what my shade range is, so I guessed on everything. So this should be interesting. I hope everything's okay. So basically, this is a full coverage foundation by what I read on the box. It also says it's 24-hour long wear, sweat proof, transfer resistant, water resistant, free of oils, fragrance, and parabens, and it's great for all skin types. And the shade that I got was F110. I'm not sure if this is the lightest that they had or what. I can't remember how I chose my shade. Like I said, I never had samples of anything, nothing to kind of go by, so I'm a little bit nervous that I got the wrong shade. That is what that one looks like there, so I'm not sure. Maybe if it's a little bit too light, I can like bronze it up a little bit. So to apply this, I'm going to be using my regular Morphe Y7 brush just to kind of blend it all out. Yeah, so I'm kind of scared that this is too light, but we're going to see. So I just put a little bit on my brush. And now, oh yeah. So I definitely should have got the next shade down, but I think we can make it work. Everything is blending fine with this brush. There's no like huge, you know, concerns or anything like that as of right now. Okay, so right off the bat, after just blending everything in, I did see a little bit of foundation creasing just under my eyes. It's very, very subtle. It's not huge. It's just a little bit, but I mean, I can like rub that out. Okay, so this is foundation. This is how it looks here. Pretty flat. Like, it makes my face look really flat, but again, that's because it is high coverage. And full coverage and matte at that. So again, you just kind of have to watch some of your lines. It seems like it really likes to sink in under my eye area, and I never really had that happen with a foundation before. So I'm gonna go ahead with the concealer and just see kind of how that, you know, blends into the line, see if there's any creasing. So the concealer shade that I got was C115. I'm pretty sure this was their lightest shade. If not the lightest, the next one down, but I'm pretty sure it was the lightest, besides white, if there is a white, I can't remember. So on the side, this says instant full-on concealing power, blendable multitasking formula, free of fragrance and parabens. So I'm just gonna open this up. So this is how white that one is. And if I compare it to the one by ColourPop that I got that was super white, it's like probably like half a shade down from the ColourPop one. So it looks like the ColourPop one is like a shade, like half a shade lighter than this one. So it's gonna be pretty light on my skin. But I mean, concealer I don't really care about because I like the brightening effect of lighter concealers anyway. So, but I mean, with this foundation, it's probably gonna look super white, but we will see. So I do like the thicker applicator tip on this one. It kind of like makes blending it out on your face kind of easier. So I'm just gonna apply it everywhere that I normally put concealer. And I'm just gonna go ahead and blend it with this guy here. Whoa, this looks so white. Okay, so a little goes a long way. Noted. Okay, so that's a concealer. I definitely used too much. I did not realize how thick and, you know, like how far like one little tiny bit can go. So I definitely used way too much. But so far I think I really like the concealer. I really like how brightening that shade is, and I like how it blended out. It was like super creamy, super high coverage, as you can see. I mean, my face, like, if it gets any whiter, you won't be able to see it. So far, so good with the concealer. I am gonna bake under my eyes because that's what I always do, and I don't want to go, you know, testing this foundation and concealer with doing new kind of things that I never do. So I'm gonna carry on and do some of the stuff that I always do. And for that, I'm still going to be using my Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in the shade 05 Fair. But I did pick up one of the Morphe Beauty Sponges here. I just kind of wanted to try it out. I don't think I'm going to use it to like blend anything, but I am going to use it for like powder, I think. So this is how it looks like here. I like how it has like a nice sharp edge like that. That would be good for baking, like if you do this section of your face. So I am very curious about this one because all I use for baking is an old kind of like stiffer beauty sponge just that I found from Winners. So I'm gonna give this a go. I'm gonna dunk into my powder and just bake where I normally bake. So I lightly put like a layer of powder under my eyes, but I kind of just want to try out this flat surface there. So I'm just gonna kind of, oh yeah, so that works to give like a really nice line. I never bake this far down my face, so I'm just solely doing this just to test out this sponge. So while this is kind of setting and doing its thing, I am going to go in and just do my eyebrows really quick. I'm just going to use my usual ABH Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Taupe. And while I was on the Morphe website, I decided that I would try to pick up a new eyebrow brush because I only really use one. I always use this one from Quo, and this is their liner brow brush like this. This is the one I always use for when I'm using like a pomade. So this one is the Morphe M215 brush, and it's like a little slanted pencil brush as well. So I am actually gonna go and try this brush with this pomade, and I will be right back. Okay, so I done my brows with this brush, and I mean the brush was okay. I really like a brush to be very like sharp and thin. Like I don't like it to be really like thick when it comes to like bristle with. So this one's a little bit on the thicker side, but I mean I may do. My brows aren't looking too bad, so I mean I still like it, but if I could choose between the two of them, I would probably choose my Quo brush. And by the way, that's from Shoppers Drug Mart, in case anyone is wondering where that brush is from. And while I was gone, I did wipe away some of the bake, and this is what we're left with. Some creasing is under my eyes. This usually doesn't happen in this step for me. I don't think it's the concealer. I actually think it's the foundation that's making it kind of, you know, creasy. And I mean, I did set it. As soon as I put concealer on, I did go in and set it pretty quickly. So, like I said, I never really have this issue. But since the foundation was kind of creasing before I put the concealer on, I do think that it is the foundation that likes to kind of cling into lines and pores. So I'm just going to keep going and finish off this makeup look. So we'll see kind of how the under eye situation is in the end. Next, I'm just going to put on some bronzer, and for this I am going to be using the BH Brilliance bronzer in the shade Golden Gal. So this is how it looks like right here. This one is great for light skin tones, and if you haven't already seen my last video, which was a BH Cosmetics review and haul and try on, I will link that video down in the description box below if you want to go check that out. So I'm just going to go in with this bronzer with the Sigma Small Contour F05 brush. I don't know what I would ever do without this brush. I'm just going to put this wherever I normally put my bronzer. I think I'm going to go in with my MAC brush called Dame. So this is the color right there. It's kind of like a bluish like a pink with like a bluish undertone to it. So I really like this color. I think it's like a really nice baby pink neutral, and I think it looks really nice on like blondes especially. I used to not actually wear blush like at all up until like maybe just a couple years ago, and I find like I could never go without blush anymore because I find it just makes your face look more alive and flush. And just kind of looking at my face so far, everything is looking pretty good. The only thing once again is under my eyes, so it's like it's really starting to crease now in areas that I haven't had creasing before, such as like up here on my actual eyelid, and it kind of like makes my eye look really baggy and kind of cakey, so I'm not a fan of that so far. So I am gonna go in with eyes, and I think for eyes the only eyeshadow palette that I do have from Morphe is actually their 35 OS palette. So they're all pretty much shimmers. Actually, I think they're all shimmers, and they're all almost like a creamy texture. So I'm gonna try to figure out a look with this guy here. I used to love this when I first got it, probably like maybe 2 years ago. I really loved it so much. I used to wear it all the time. Okay, so because that palette has no like matte transition shades, I am going to be going in with that bronzer that we used from BH Cosmetics with a Morphe E23 brush, and I'm just gonna lay some foundation for the shimmers. I think I'm actually going to go in with maybe this shade right here. This one here in the middle. It's kind of like a, I don't know, like a reddish kind of brown color. So I'm just gonna go in with that with my finger, and this might look too dark. I'm not sure how this is gonna look like at all, but I'm just gonna pat this all over my lid. I'm gonna do the same with the other one, and I'm just gonna go in with that brush that we just used and just kind of blend that out a little bit just so there's no distinct line. Okay, so I'm gonna just take a Morphe E17 brush, and I'm gonna try to go in with one of these to kind of smoke out my bottom lash. I think I'm gonna try to go in with this shade over here, that one on the end. It's kind of like a lightish, I guess, taupey brown. I'm just gonna kind of try to smoke that out under my eyes. Okay, that foundation or concealer, but I think it's a foundation, is really really showing itself now. I'm gonna brighten it up a little bit just before we continue on going with this first shade up here in the corner, and with that I'm just taking my Morphe Y22 brush, dipping into that and putting some in the corners and under my brow bone. And because that first shade that we put on is kind of like a darker shade, I think I want to go in and just kind of tap something on top of that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with this shade here. It's just like 2 over from that initial shade we used. I'm just going to go in with a little tiny bit of that on my middle finger and just tap a little bit just in the middle, just to kind of brighten it up just a tiny bit. I felt like it was getting a little bit dark for a couple minutes there. So with my Morphe E17 brush again, I am going to probably go in with a darker shade just to kind of smoke things out on the ends. So I think I'm going to go in with this shade right here. I don't know how this is going to work because it is a cream kind of thing. So I'm just going to go in, just see what we can do to the outer corner. So that's kind of blending out pretty good considering that it is kind of like a shimmer cream kind of thing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shade that we put in the corner and just kind of dip into that with my regular Sigma small angle E65 brush and just kind of line a little bit of my eyelids. Okay, so now I'm just going to add some mascara. I'm going to be using my absolute favorite, once again, the Maybelline Colossal Big Shot Mascara in the shade Black. I use this in almost every single one of my videos. If you haven't known by now, I I love it. It's like the best mascara that I've ever tried from the drugstore. So I'm just gonna apply a couple coats of this stuff on the tops and bottom lashes. I think I'm gonna go in with some liner for my lips, just as like an overall kind of color. And I'm going to be using the Rimmel London Exaggerate Full Color Lip Liner in the shade East End Snob. So this is what it looks like here. You just kind of twist it up and it's almost like it's like a crayon. It's like a creamy kind of lip liner, not like a pencil one. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that all over my lips. Okay, so I really like that color. I think what I'm going to do is just kind of lighten it up just a tiny bit by using a MAC lipstick in the shade Creme de Nude. So it's just kind of like this nudie color. So I'm just going to apply just a little bit of this. I'm just going to finish the look off with some highlighter, and I'm just going to be using the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder in the shade Blossom Glow. So this is the color here. And I'm just going to be using a Morphe E61 brush just to kind of give a little bit of a glow. And I actually have one last thing that I've actually purchased from the Morphe website, all in that same kind of package. So I did want to try out their continuous setting mist, so I picked that up. I have no idea what this is like. I hear good things, I see good things, but I've never tried it myself. So I'm just going to go ahead and give my face a little spray. So far, I really like the nozzle on this and how it is super fine mist. Like, it literally feels like I'm just spraying a light mist of like water over my face. So I do really like this. Okay, now to kind of talk about the foundation and concealer. I'm just trying to get really close to the camera just so you can kind of see. There's nothing huge happening under my eyes. I mean, it did start to cake and bunch up just a little more than normal than when I wear other stuff. But I mean, it's nothing to be really concerned about, I don't think. But again, I do think that it is the foundation and not so much the concealer. I mean, I'm going to have to kind of play around with both to figure out which one is the issue, if it's not both of them. So I will kind of let you know in the description box. I am going to try this concealer with another one out tomorrow when I get up, and I will let you know in the description box before I post the video what I found out with the concealer being the issue, or if it's the foundation, or if it's the combination of both. So in terms of the foundation, I did like it. I never really had an issue with anything. It blended out easily. I didn't use that much. I just kind of used a little bit and blended out what was on my brush because it is full coverage. I'm not really about all of the full coverage matte kind of, you know, like really non-transparent kind of look when it comes to like foundation or how my skin looks. So I didn't want to use too much of it, but from what I did use, it did cover up everything. It made me look like a ghost. Like you guys seen when I first applied it, it was very, very, very opaque. In terms of the shade, I could have went a shade darker, but with everything it kind of turned out really well, like with everything once I put blush and bronzer on, so I'm not really complaining about the shade. So for the concealer, a little goes a long way. So if I was to compare this to something that I've already previously tried, I would probably compare it to the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in terms of its like thickness and, you know, like creaminess. The formula, I would probably best familiarize it with that. But it did do a really good job of concealing my under eyes. I used too much, obviously, but it did turn out okay. The only thing that I found kind of weird is when I went in with my Maybelline powder, which is what I use all the time, it didn't seem as silky and smooth under my eyes as if I were to use it with, like, let's say a drugstore foundation or a different concealer. So normally when I put this under my eyes and I bake with it, when I wipe it off, it feels very finely milled and very silky to the touch under my eyes. And it is definitely not really the case with using the Morphe ones for some reason. I am gonna let this sit for a couple hours. So basically right now, as I'm done filming this video, it is about 10 to 5 in the evening. and I'm probably gonna come back before I take all my makeup off, before I do anything, before going to bed. I'm not really going out anywhere, so I'm just gonna be kind of, you know, maybe eating supper and kind of chilling around my house. So I will come back and give you guys an update on how this wears a couple of hours in. So I will see you guys in a couple of short hours. Alright you guys, so I am back. It's about a little after 9 o'clock at night. I wanted to kind of leave this on longer, but I feel like I have to wash everything off. I just feel kind of gross now. And I think I'm going to zoom you guys in for this one just to kind of give you a little idea of what it's been kind of doing to my face. You can probably see the way that it creases under my eyes like that. Same with this one. So it's just looks very cakey. There's texturing on my nose like really bad. Also right here. It's bringing out the texture a lot in my skin, which is something that doesn't really happen to me. So in terms of that kind of thing, this foundation made my skin look worse. In terms of the concealer, I am not sure which did what, but considering that I do have a lot of textured areas all over my face other than under my eyes, leads me to believe that it is a lot of this guy's fault right here. Do I think it's the worst foundation? No, but I definitely don't think it's the best foundation. I can definitely find ones from the drugstore that can do a lot better than this and last a lot longer than this. Also, a drugstore foundation that doesn't exaggerate any pores, any texture, that doesn't bunch, that lasts a lot longer. So I mean this one is supposed to be, I believe it's a 24-hour long wear. So I mean, if it can't even make 4.5 hours, what the heck's it gonna look like after a full 24 hours? I am not sure. In terms of the concealer, I don't think it's the worst concealer I used. I mean, at first application, I really seen that it did cover my dark spots pretty well. It blended out really well. It gave really nice coverage. Again, I have to kind of play with this without the foundation, and I kind of want to try the foundation without the concealer. I will let you guys know what I think, but this right here is my honest opinion of the new Morphe concealer and foundation. I hope you guys found this video helpful if you were kind of undecided or decided whether or not to make the plunge and purchase one of these guys. And if you want to see more by me, just hit that subscribe button. So I will be seeing you guys in my next video. Bye!